Whispers across the river. The town of Eldenbrook was small, nestled between rolling hills and a wide silver river. Life moved slowly there, with cobblestone streets, old bridges, and lanterns that flickered warmly at night. Among the townsfolk lived Clara Whitmore, a young woman known for her quiet grace and the way she carried books pressed close to her chest, as if they were pieces of her heart. She worked at the town's library, where the scent of old paper and ink was her favorite comfort. Across the river, in a workshop filled with wood shavings and the steady sound of carving tools, lived Ethan Rowe, a craftsman. His hands, though rough from years of labor, shaped them into delicate wonders, music boxes, toy ships, and carved birds that seemed ready to fly. He was quiet too, but in a different way. His silence came from solitude, not shyness. For years, they had known each other only in passing, Clara walking home across the bridge, Ethan nodding from his workshop door. Yet one evening, as rain fell softly, Clara lingered by the bridge, her umbrella trembling in the wind. Ethan happened to pass by, and without a word, he tilted his own umbrella over her. It was a simple gesture, but it was the first spark of something neither of them would believe. Days turned into weeks. They began meeting often, though never planned. Sometimes at the market, sometimes by the riverbank. Clara would bring him books, stories she thought he might like, and Ethan, in return, carved small gifts for her, a wooden rose, a bookmark shaped like a feather, a tiny locket with her initials etched inside. Their conversations were never hurried. They talked about little things, the sound of the river at dawn, the smell of pine wood, the meaning of stories. Yet within those words, something deeper grew. A tenderness that lived between pauses, in the way Clara's laughter softened Ethan's gaze, and in the way Ethan's hands, usually so steady, trembled slightly when he handed her his creations. One autumn evening, when the lanterns were lit and the river carried fallen leaves like drifting boats, Ethan walked Clara home. They stopped on the old bridge, the town growing faintly behind them. "I've always wondered," Ethan said, his voice low, "how stories know where they belong. Do they choose the people, or do people choose them?" Clara smiled, her breath visible in the chill air. "I think they find us when we need them most." He hesitated, then reached into his coat pocket. From it, he pulled a small wooden box. Inside was a carved bird, wings spread, as if frozen mid-flight. "For you," he said softly. "Because every time I see you, it feels like something in me takes flight." Clara's heart trembled. She closed the box gently, holding it to her chest as though it were the most fragile, precious thing she had ever been given. "And every time I see you," she whispered, "it feels like I'm finding a story I was meant to read all along." That night, beneath the stars and the steady murmur of the river, they shared their first kiss, gentle, hesitant, but filled with a promise neither needed to speak aloud. From then on, Eldenbrook was no longer just a quiet town. It was the place where a librarian and a craftsman found in each other the kind of love that lingers like the whisper of pages turning, like the warmth of lantern light reflected in the water. And though years would pass, though seasons would change, Clara and Ethan's love remained, like the bridge across the river, steady and enduring, carrying them always back to each other. The whisper of autumn leaves. The small town of Havenbrook had always been painted in golden shades of autumn, its cobblestone streets lined with towering maples and oaks that blazed with color every October. It was here that Emma, a quiet painter searching for inspiration, rented a small cottage by the river. She had left the bustling city behind, hoping to rediscover her passion for art and perhaps herself. Every morning, she walked down the riverside path with her sketchbook, capturing the way the sunlight danced on the water. That was when she first noticed him, a man sitting on the same weathered bench every day, reading. His name, she later learned, was Daniel. He was a local schoolteacher with a calm demeanor and an easy smile that seemed to blend perfectly with the stillness of the town. At first, their interactions were nothing more than polite nods, small smiles exchanged as they passed each other. But one windy afternoon, a page from Emma's sketchbook tore free and landed in Daniel's lap. He picked it up, studying the soft pencil strokes of autumn leaves before handing it back. "You draw beautifully," he said simply, and Emma felt warmth rise to her cheeks. That single compliment opened a door. Soon, they found themselves talking, sometimes about books, sometimes about art, and sometimes about nothing at all. Their conversations grew longer with each passing day, until the bench by the river became their unspoken meeting place. Daniel told Emma about his students, the way their laughter filled the classroom, and the dreams he carried quietly in his heart. Emma, in turn, shared the stories behind her paintings, the way color spoke louder than words ever could. As the weeks passed, Emma noticed the subtle things. How Daniel's eyes crinkled when he laughed, how he paused to listen as if every word she spoke mattered, how he always brought an extra thermos of tea, just in case she forgot hers. One evening, as twilight draped the town in soft violet light, Daniel asked, "Why did you really come to Havenbrook?" Emma hesitated, then admitted, "I felt lost. In the city, I painted because I had to, not because I wanted to. I needed to remember why I fell in love with art in the first place." Daniel looked at her with quiet certainty. "And have you found it?" Emma's gaze lingered on him, on the warmth in his eyes, on the comfort she felt just being near him. "Maybe I have," she whispered. Autumn melted slowly into winter, and with it came the first snow. On the night of Havenbrook's Winter Festival, the streets glowed with lanterns, laughter, and music. Emma and Daniel walked side by side, their breaths forming clouds in the frosty air. When the town square erupted in fireworks, Daniel turned to her. "I don't know where life will take us," he said softly, "but I do know this, I don't want to watch another season change without you." Emma's heart trembled, as if the world had paused just for them. She reached for his hand, fingers intertwining with his. "You won't have to," she replied. From that night on, their lives became threads woven together. Emma painted with a renewed spirit, her canvases alive with color and emotion, while Daniel found joy in sharing her work with the town, proud of every brushstroke. And though the seasons continued to turn, spring blossoms, summer rains, autumn leaves, winter snow, Emma and Daniel discovered that love, once found, painted every moment with a beauty no canvas could ever truly capture. Beneath the silver moon. It was a quiet evening in the little coastal town of Lyria. The waves whispered against the shore, the lanterns along the pier flickered in the salt-kissed air, and the moon cast its silver glow upon the water. In that stillness, Amelia sat by the old wooden bench, her sketchbook open, trying to capture the restless beauty of the sea. She wasn't from Lyria, she had come from the city seeking solitude, a way to mend her heart after years of chasing dreams that had left her empty. For weeks she had drawn the sea, the harbor, and the fishermen mending their nets, but something was always missing from her sketches, something alive, something more. That was when she first saw Elias. He was walking along the pier carrying a guitar case, his steps unhurried, his eyes lost in the horizon. He stopped not far from where she sat, opened the case, and began to play. The notes drifted across the water like a secret carried by the wind. His music was not polished, but it was honest, every chord trembling with a story unspoken. Amelia lowered her pencil. For the first time since she had arrived, she felt the emptiness inside her stir. "Your music, it sounds like the sea," she said softly. Elias looked up, startled, then smiled, a little shyly. "And your drawings, they look like they could hold it." That was the beginning. They started meeting each evening by the pier. She would sketch while he played, their silences comfortable, their words flowing only when necessary. Amelia learned that Elias was born in Lyria, that he had once dreamed of leaving to become a musician, but life had kept him tethered to the town. His father had grown ill, the family small and needed tending, and dreams had quietly folded into responsibilities. Yet when he played, Amelia could hear the fragments of those dreams, the cities he never saw, the stages he never stood on, the journeys he only imagined. One evening, the air thick with the scent of rain, Elias asked, "Why did you come here?" Amelia hesitated, then admitted, "Because I forgot how to feel. I thought the sea might remind me." Elias didn't answer, but he played a song that sounded like a heart rediscovering its own rhythm. Days became weeks. They walked through the narrow streets of Lyria, shared stories beneath lanterns, laughed over cups of bitter coffee in the small cafe by the shore. Amelia found herself sketching him without realizing it, his hands on the guitar, his eyes fixed on the horizon, the way the sea breeze tangled his hair. One night, under a sky heavy with stars, Elias confessed, "Sometimes I think I only exist in half a life. Music is the other half, but I left it behind." Amelia touched his hand gently. "Then maybe it's time to take it back." It was that moment, the brush of her fingers, the truth in her voice, that shifted something between them. The world grew softer, the air warmer, and when their lips met for the first time, it was like the sea itself sighed in relief. But love, as Amelia knew too well, was never simple. Her time in Maria was ending. She had to return to the city, to the work waiting for her, to the life she had momentarily escaped. The thought of leaving Elias ached more than she expected. On her last evening, she found him waiting at the pier, his guitar by his side. He played no song that night, only looked at her with eyes that seemed to memorize every detail of her face. "Will you come back?" he asked quietly. Amelia felt tears gather in her eyes. "If you'll be here." He smiled, though his voice trembled. "I'll always be here. With the sea. With the songs." She pressed her sketchbook into his hands. Inside, every page was filled with him, the boy with the guitar, the dreamer tied to the shore, the man who taught her to feel again. When she boarded the train the next morning, the sea still echoed in her ears. She didn't know when she would return, but she knew one thing for certain: some loves are not bound by distance or time. Some loves wait, like the sea beneath the silver moon, eternal and patient. And in her heart, Amelia carried the certainty that this was one of them.